Welcome everybody to the Serpent Tarot for another deck creator interview. Today I'm really excited because this is a fellow Aussie. So I want to introduce you to Sue Cadzow, who is known as 50s Vintage Dame online and at her Etsy store, and where she sells her wonderful deck we're going to talk about today, the fabulous Tinseltown Tarot, which really caught my eye, apart from the fact that she was an Australian, but also that kind of glamour that we have with old Hollywood, which is very much depicted in the deck. So welcome, Sue, to the Serpent Tarot.
Thanks, Helen. Lovely to meet you and be here.
Brilliant, thank you. Just so everybody knows, tomorrow, from when this particular interview is published, if you're seeing it on the day it's published, I will actually be doing a pick a card that is using Sue's wonderful deck, and probably in a way that you would expect. It's about your star quality, because how could I resist when I'm doing something about Tinseltown Tarot? So let's have a bit of a chat to start with so that you can meet Sue properly. I'd really like Sue to just let us have a bit of an idea about your creative, artistic, and spiritual journey, because I think it sort of started creatively from what we talked about this before, started creatively and then it became spiritual as you were getting into it. So it'd be lovely to hear about that journey and how it led to the tarot design.
Oh, sure, Helen. Yes, really, it was quite a personal journey for me creating these cards. I started off, I have a history, I'm a background of graphic design, and I've moved into illustration. And the publisher, Smith Street Books, that published this deck, um, put out a call to all the illustrators on their book saying, has anyone got an idea for a tarot deck? And they loved my idea of old Hollywood. They said, yep, that's great, go for it. But the trouble was, even though I'd always been intrigued with the idea of tarot and the concept of the uncanny and the unexplainable, I hadn't really didn't really know a lot about it. So I had to do a deep dive. uh, I was sat down, I bought the Rider Waite deck, I read a couple of books, just immersed myself completely in it. But just prior to that, I had a friend who is an astrologer, and I designed her logo, and I thought I would support her business by booking a reading with her. Again, even though I didn't 100%, I was open to these ideas, but I didn't quite believe it. Anyway, her reading came back. It was like 100% spot on. I was in a very difficult position in my life at that time, and her reading actually helped me find a path out of my
Wonderful.
situation. The whole thing was just blew me away. But core to her reading, she was saying, Sue, look, you're quite a spiritual person. You just need to tune into your higher self, trust your higher self. So that was her words, trust your higher self. And so all the time I'm reading, doing my studying for the tarot cards, I have Ksenia's voice in my head saying, trust your higher self. So I did that. I would read the meaning of what the Rider Waite card was, what it meant, the symbology, and then I would just let it flow over me, and my ideas would just pop up. I'd make a few little notes. I've got a notebook here with all my
Wow.
notes in it. And yeah, so that's good. So it was quite an awakening of the spiritual side of me as well. So I really, really enjoyed it, and I feel like I'm a more developed person
Mhm.
as a result of creating this deck. So it's been a really wonderful experience for me.
That's great. It's really interesting because you have chosen the golden age of Hollywood, and that was your pitch to your publisher that they really loved, and that makes such sense to me because tarot, to me, one of its real strengths is it really describes the human condition. The major arcana kind of tells your life story in a way, and the minor arcana show your emotions, your sort of material world, your ambition, your what's one? Oh, the way you think, that kind of thing. So it's very human. And so for most of the part, unless you're talking like really weird films, so is Hollywood. So are films. Films are really about the human condition as well. And the kind of there's another similarity too that's occurred to me since we sort of talked that I think is really interesting. I'm just doing this, throwing some thoughts out here for you around it, but that when we talk about people from the golden age of Hollywood, and a little bit later we'll show some cards and talk about this, we're talking often about people that go from just being people into being icons or archetypes in a way. And tarot's really like that as well too. So was that in the back of your head at all when you decided golden age of Hollywood, or did that occur on some level, or what was that journey like using that topic to do this?
Well, that was very interesting because I've had a lifelong obsession with vintage, the 1950s, old movies, glamour, cosmetics.
Mhm.
I guess like I collect old stuff. I used to dress like Marilyn Monroe when I was
Why
young,
not?
and I just absolutely love it. So I just love this whole concept. But then as I was, started my journey in the cards, I thought, yeah, this is exactly like all the biopics, the biographies you've
Mhm.
read about the big movie stars. They start off stars in their eyes, this innocent person, and there's this whole seedy side of
Oh,
Hollywood
yeah.
that they have to, all these, obstacles they have to get over. The climb to fame and fortune isn't like a nice straight line. It's
No,
very down.
unfortunately.
And so, but that's like you're totally how the human condition is, and yes, I really like that. For instance, I've got here the Fool. Like I
Mhm.
started out with this one because this is like the innocent starlet.
Oh,
Um,
yes.
so she's starting out on a journey. She's got stars in her eyes. Everything's going to be wonderful. She's completely innocent. So again, reflecting the Rider-Waite card, she's got a poodle on a suitcase. That's a little
Yeah,
white dog
it's
that
so
accompanies her.
cute. Yeah.
She's like the rose is on a lapel of her suit, and the mountains in the back of the Hollywood Hills, which
Yeah.
is her destination and the trouble that's that's
Going
ahead
to
of her.
come.
It's going to hit her. Yeah, so I actually really enjoyed that aspect of it too. That's like, oh, okay, everything kind of gelled as I was
Mm.
moving through this whole project. All these little pieces kept falling into place, and everything seemed to make a lot more sense, which was
That's the creative journey though, isn't it? I find that often what is interesting is that there'll be the initial inspiration and the direction, and then it's only as you do it that you uncover, oh, that's why I had that inspiration, and this is how that makes sense. That sounds like that was happening with you.
It was. And again, that reflects back to the trust your higher self because it's telling
Yeah.
you need to do, and you just have to listen to it. And there's a reason behind all this stuff happening. Yeah.
Yeah. So one of the things I find really interesting, and I might just show a few cards for people, and then you can show whatever ones you want. So it's great for
Okay.
people to see these wonderful things that you design. I mean, it's all your artwork, which is an issue. People have issues around things like AI, so we know that's not what's going on
Yeah.
here. So for instance, one of the things you said to me, and this makes sense for this, when we've got this card, which is the Ace of Pentacles. This looks a bit like Marilyn Monroe, but just so people know, when we talked about this, you said that you were trying more to do an homage rather than, oh, sorry, my camera's just gone out of focus. Try and bring it back in. An homage rather than the actual character. And so there's sort of, for the King of Wands, we've got something that looks like Zorro. I love for death, we've got something that looks like Dracula, Bela Lugosi, that type of thing. And then I don't know whether you meant this, but the Four of Cups makes me think of Gatsby.
Yeah, the whole thing was like, um, as well as a homage to the actors, it was like the era, the situations,
Mm-hmm.
the locations, the parties, the whole glitz
Yeah,
and glam kind of thing.
yeah.
Yeah, it was like again a mishmash of different concepts, and making it giving it my personal touch rather than just straight out copying old stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you mentioned to me that you've even got sort of like some of the people are modeled on Friends and things like that. So maybe let people know a little bit about your kind of design thing around that and show maybe some of your favorite cards. That would be great.
Okay. Well, I'll show you the ones that were based on my friends because I have um, this one here. That was my friends will recognize this girl immediately.
Uh-huh.
She unfortunately passed quite early, but she was such a
Oh,
beautiful person. And her spirit came to help me in a way
oh,
as well.
wonderful.
Um, yeah, so that was her card. So that one's like it's got a really special meaning for me, and it makes me smile when I hold that card,
Mhm.
which is nice that her energy
Is in the
is
deck. Yeah.
exactly. And the same deal. This was another friend of mine. This is his card.
Oh, wow.
Again, it's like a Errol Flynn
Yeah, I was
type,
going to say, I would have thought Errol Flynn. So there you go. Yeah.
which is his kind of his personality. So again, like that's another special card for me personally because um, it's just their energy is there, and like it makes me happy to look at theirs
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
I feel connected with them. Um, so my other favorite card is this one, which is again Marilyn, as I
Oh,
mentioned, I had an obsession with Marilyn Monroe.
many did. So I don't
Yeah,
think you're alone.
so this was based on a famous photo shoot she did for Playboy magazine. She was desperate for rent money, so she had to
Hmm.
pose nude, which again reflects the card. Like she had to make a sacrifice for her career, which paid off for her in the end, obviously. But the the photos were taken that way. So because it's the hanged man, I've flipped her upside down into the hanged man position,
Mm.
and used various of the other symbology, like the hair forms the halo, the blue clothes are the blue sheet that she's draped in. Um, yeah, so that one again, it was kind of showing a different perspective on a situation,
Hmm.
and also showing the sacrifices that you have to make
Right. Yes. Yes.
to achieve what your goals are. The other, I know another, I'm thinking of
Yep.
all the Disney cards, but this one,
Yep.
this was based on the Max Factor Museum, the Hollywood Museum in
Hmm.
Hollywood, which was the Max Factor building. I went there a few years ago. It was just amazing. It was the original Max Factor makeup shop, makeup rooms where people could go and have their makeup done. And it was just the most beautiful, glamorous building ever. So I've used this as the tower, and one
Wow.
of the
Yeah.
ladies, she said, "This deck is so beautiful. Like, I don't even mind getting the tower card because
Oh, yeah, I think the tower card gets a bad rap. I think the tower card can be good. So
yeah,
it's fun like
anyway,
that.
and again, this one too, this is the interior of the Hollywood Museum, looks like
Right.
this
Okay.
as the temple. So anywhere where the
Hmm.
temple is, it's actually the Max Factor Museum, because that is the temple to cosmetics. The
Mm.
whole industry wouldn't have existed without makeup. Um, it's yeah, so that's one of my favorite things as well.
Oh, they're great. That's fascinating. And like they're all fabulous. They're all, I mean, Hollywood is fabulous. The other thing that strikes me actually, as you were talking about that, is what I love actually. I love a lot of things about your deck, but this is just something I realized is that you have actually really taken the Rider-Waite-Smith. You put all the kind of occult and esoteric symbolism in it in a very clever way. And there are certain, I don't know, what would you call them, conspiracy theories out there that movies are full of occult symbolism. And once you know what the occult symbolism is, you think, oh, yeah, they are. Whether that's someone has an in-joke about it in Hollywood or whether it is, predictive programming or the revelation of the method or all the things they talk about. But, it's really interesting to see. You've done the same thing. Like all that symbolism is there and in this sort of glamorous sort of area. And so like one of the things that I got drawn to your deck with is the concept of Hollywood and so forth because it's so creative. And one of the mission statements, if you will, about this channel is to support creative people. Hence why I'm doing these sort of interviews. And so I just think it's an inherently, I mean, it's a creative process to do a tarot deck anyway, but a tarot deck based on something like this is so creative. As a creator, because you were a creator way before this, was there anything in the particular journey of doing this that changed or heightened your creative sort of side of things? Like, was there learnings in that, or was it applying just what you had to that particular topic?
It was totally like I had kind of basic project managers because like 78 cards, it was like a lot
Mm.
of job.
Mm.
And a lot of people would get daunted by that. But because I'd designed books and magazines and stuff, like I just broke it down into a project as I would for a big, a 300-page book or something like that. Just broke it down, tackled it. That side of it was just procedural, but the actual creative side of it, I got to explore a illustration style that I'd always liked, and I got to develop that, which was
Mhm.
a really wonderful experience for me. Um, and what else was I going to say about that? I had some notes here. Just also just the development of different concepts within the larger
Mhm.
story. There's different little aspects there where I thought, oh, okay, that's inspiration for another project that I'd like to do,
Oh,
another
cool.
side project. So it's actually launched a lot of other projects from this one major project, including another tarot deck.
Cool.
Yeah, so that's quite exciting. I'm halfway through
Yeah.
that at the moment. So I can't reveal too much because I'm hoping to pitch it to a publisher, but
Hmm.
I can give you a sneak peek of one of the cards here. Let me just get this open. So it's again, it's a retro theme. So I don't know if you can see
Oh,
this here.
wow, that's gorgeous.
Queen of Wands.
Oh, love it.
Yeah, so
Wow.
that's in the works. So that will hopefully be out later this year or early next year.
Oh, I'll be keeping an eye out. We might get you to come back and have a chat about that one when it's out in the world, or you get the publisher, or whatever way you do it. Brilliant. So that's the creative journey. What about the spiritual journey? You obviously said you started to trust your spirit, as your friend suggested from your astrology reading. Beyond that, like starting to trust your own intuition, was there anything like in the concepts that you were dealing with that sort of, inspired you spiritually at all, or was it much more a creative journey?
Well, it was definitely both for me. And again, because I'm a creative person, everything's kind of
Mm.
intertwined. But it did, um, in addition to trusting my instincts, it made me listen to what, yeah, what the universe is telling me. I ended up having a visit from the friends that are in the cards,
Wow. Yeah.
which was a really wonderful experience for me. Um, so yeah, so I feel like but I think the whole trusting your instincts and just being able to look at a situation and sum it up and know exactly what's going on instantly. Like
Mm.
now I feel like I can do that. It's just given me the confidence to be able to go, oh yes, that's what's happening there. That's what's happening there. I just know it. And I'm 100% confident in myself because I'm always been a very shy, insecure person. So
Mhm.
having this confidence that, okay, that's what I want, that's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to be put off by people putting me down or what.
No.
So I feel like it's helped me grow in that way as well. So
That's
it's been
wonderful. So what it sort of sounds like too, with your creative sort of energy, the sort of storylines that you will get with Hollywood and all that kind of thing, sounds like a kind of increase of your intuition and that fast thinking, that fast apprehension of things, which I do think like tarot is really good at, like oracle decks are really good at, like getting one to trust that, because there are theories that intuition is extremely fast thought. It's too fast for us to consciously know. So that's really interesting. So you found that. So what would you hope that readers might get from incorporating this deck into their collection?
Well, what I really hope, because I've invested so much of myself personally into this deck, and I am quite a caring, positive kind of person. So I'm hoping that in the readings, when people use these cards, there'll be something positive, even if the negative, if it's a negative um, draw of cards, there'll be something positive that you can place on that. Um, that's my main thing. I think that I hope that it makes people happier and feel better about themselves, because that's my goal in life, really.
Oh, I think it will do that. I think like for everybody to know, it's just a lovely deck. It's very visually beautiful. I love the colors that you've used. There's a dusty pink. I love dusty pink and a kind of tealy green. And like just on that, just visually, it makes you feel good to use it. I found that quite a joyous deck to read with. The other thing that I kind of like from how you've described it, and that maybe sort of something for the readers who are watching this, is that kind of story of the aspiration that that Hollywood represents to people is so iconic. um, is a wonderful way of people finding their creative and spiritual path and understanding. Like I've just literally just done a series of soul activation. It's a soul activation series, and it's based on Joseph Campbell's Hero's Quest. And a lot of the stories in Hollywood are based on Joseph Campbell's Hero's Quest in one form or another. So I think that this is a really identifiable storyline. Everybody kind of knows the Starlet storyline. And I think for those that are learning tarot, interesting enough, I think it would actually be a really good, like the way you depict things in the cards really show that story, and they're very immediate. You can see it's not a pip deck, like all the cards have a kind of part of the story and everything. So I find that really interesting in terms of the kind of concept of narrative. From your background, because you said you did sort of things with magazines, all that kind of thing, is narrative a big part of what you do? Is that or was that an unconscious thing that happened?
I think really is, because I like to kind of add extra value to everything that I do. Like I don't want to just draw a pretty picture. There has to be
Yeah.
a reason for a pretty
Yeah.
picture. Yeah, as you say, a story around it or behind it or a reason for it. And I feel that that's with all of my work, that's what people get extra value from this work that I do for them because of that, because there's always another level, an extra little bit of depth, something to make people think about things. And so, yeah, so I wanted to treat the cards in exactly the same way.
Mhm.
The other interesting thing too is like I've met so many wonderful people have messaged me saying they're going, oh, isn't there a guidebook to go with this?
Uh-huh.
Publisher had said because it's based on the Rider-Waite deck and
Yeah.
it uses all that symbology, there's no reason for a guidebook. But so many people have asked me specifically about why I've
Yeah.
done the cards a certain way. So what I'm doing is I'm actually halfway through it now. I'm compiling a PDF, which I'm going
Oh,
to have
excellent.
as a free download on my website, which will explain each of the cards and why I've drawn them the certain way that I have, which hopefully will help people in their readings.
Yeah. Brilliant. Yeah, well, that's good. So that sort of leads me to something. We will have your Etsy store in the description box for this. Are there other social media or website addresses and so forth that people need to find you on? And we can include them, but just in general, are you on social media beyond that?
Yeah, so I'm big on Instagram.
Uh-huh.
So I'm 50s like 50s underscore vintage underscore dame on Instagram. Then I
Mhm.
also have a website called 50s Vintage Dame. So it's 50s vintage
Yeah,
dame.com, which is kind of like the big umbrella for everything. So the cards are on there. I'll have my little guidebook on there, and it also
excellent.
shows other work that I've done if people are interested in looking at that.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. So actually, one thing I do want to mention, because I was just thinking about it, is just so people know, with the pick a card that I filmed for tomorrow, I filmed this quite a bit before I met Sue and we had a kind of preparatory chat because I couldn't wait. And like I just wanted to use it. And Sue was, I think, on holidays at the time that I bought the deck and all that kind of thing. So I think, I can't remember, but I might have said, oh, this might be this person or this might be this person. I don't know whether I did or not. But now I know better. I know that it's an homage to types of people. So bear with me if that's the case tomorrow. Is there anything beyond that we haven't touched on that you'd really like to mention about the deck or about your sort of journey?
Oh, I did make a few notes about here, so let me just have a
Mhm.
quick squeeze here. I think we covered most of them. I think, yeah, sorry, I think you've actually covered everything that I
Okay.
wanted to
Okay.
include. Um, and
One
so
other thing
things,
people might be interested in. So, do you now read with the cards, or is it just really a creative thing for you?
I use them for myself. I don't feel, again, because I was such a beginner when I created
Mhm.
this, I don't feel confident reading for other people, but
Mhm.
I'll pull some cards and read for myself, and it helps me clarify what what I need to focus on, what I need to address myself. And I did read an article about this. Um, it's written by some skeptics, of course,
Uh-huh.
and they were actually saying that the cards are a tool to unlock your own subconscious,
Mhm.
and you've got the answers in there. You just have to,
Yeah.
unlock them. And so for me personally, that actually really resonated with me, that yes, that's true. And so that's why I feel like I can use them for myself, but I don't feel like I have the confidence to read for other
And that's fine. I
people.
wasn't going to like put you on the spot to do it. I just thought people might be interested to know if you were doing that. It's interesting, that sort of thing. I mean, I get the skeptical thing. There's almost two camps within tarot, and one camp is it's not predictive. It's a kind of psychological self-exploration. Fine, no problem with that. Equally, there's the predictive. I certainly don't have any problem with that because I've read predictively for years. So I think though that you're not really seeing the future. You're seeing, because of the structure of tarot, because it is so logical, this is the way these energies go. You're seeing the present and therefore extrapolating the consequences of the present with the predictive. But that's just my view on it. But what the side that says it's just a subconscious thing, can't really answer, and I can't even really answer on the predictive thing. This is sort of something that I think about a lot, is how is it that we shuffle and get the right cards? And
Yes, that, yeah.
that's magic, I think. I don't know what else it could be.
Well, interestingly, to my friend that did the astrology reading for me, she had a theory. She said, so 500 years ago, if you had tried to explain the concept of microwaves to people, they would have thought you were insane, like they would
Mm-hmm.
possibly exist. She said, now everyone accepts that there's microwave energy. So who is to say that spiritual energy is not the same thing?
Exactly.
It's just that we don't know how to measure it scientifically. And even my son, who's a scientist, says, Mum, science is only proven until it's disproven. Who's to say
Exactly.
that's not another form of energy? Yeah. So
Exactly. I like your son. I like your friend. I like your friend because she got you inspired to doing this. But yeah, I agree with that. I mean, there's so much we don't know. And I think an open mind is a wonderful thing, as is a creative mind. So thank you so much for doing this interview. Thank you so much for doing the dare, because I love it. And you'll see it quite a bit on my channel, no doubt. But first time tomorrow, which will be exciting. But thank you for your time today. I hope that you enjoyed the conversation as much as I did. I very much did. And I hope everybody out there does as well too. But thank you. Thank you, Sue, for your time.
thank you, Helen. It's been a pleasure here speaking to you and yeah, sharing my journey with people.
Wonderful. Okay, so we'll say goodbye for now, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.